If your job or your company's success is related to your website, you're going to want to watch this. Hi, I'm Kevin Goldberg, CEO and founder of Imagistic IS2 Digital. We architect and build custom software solutions for businesses like yours to boost profitability, streamline operations, and to strengthen your brand online. So let me set the stage. Statistically speaking, your website will be attacked this year. And if that attack is successful, it will result in lost revenue, wasted time, and brand damage. So let's look at just a few stats. Amazon has 1 billion cyber attacks a day. Chase Financial, 50 billion cyber attacks a day. And a stat I read on Statista said that 75% of all large corporations have already been affected by ransomware attacks. And driving that is a nearly $10 trillion cybercrime industry. So let's talk about 5 key takeaways on preventing you from becoming one of the statistics. Why do websites get hacked? First, let me say that there's a large misconception about why websites get hacked. Of course, we all read about large corporations getting hacked for user data or credit card data or general corporate sabotage. But actually, small and medium-sized businesses are a much more attractive target to hackers because they typically have much less security than the larger websites do. And in these cases, what hackers are looking for is usually one of two things: either to exploit your server resources by putting bots on your server, leveraging your hard drive space, your traffic, etc., or they're looking to exploit your site's visitors by putting ads to pharmaceutical companies or gambling sites or porn, or they'll put uploads on your site as if they are coming from you, but in fact, when a user downloads these, they have malware in them. So what are 3 easy preventative steps I can take to prevent a cyber attack on my website? Since one of the primary vectors hackers use to gain access to your website are your users, the 3 things you want to put in place are a strong password policy, a review of user management roles, and make sure you have updated software. So let's talk about those. The first, a password strength policy, is very easy to implement. Most content management systems will have some facility to support this, requiring users to have passwords that are at least 10 or 12 characters long, include upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. As well, it should require users to change their passwords every 3 to 6 months. Next, you want to take time to review your user roles and make sure that you're following the rule of least privilege, which states that users should have the least amount of access necessary to do the jobs that they're required to do. And if somebody doesn't have access to something that they need, then you add that in a more granular way, again, keeping to the least privileged principle. And finally, you want to make sure that your server software is up to date, your content management system, any third-party plugins, etc. These are really easy vectors for hackers to gain access to and really easy vectors for you to shut down. What are 3 more technology-centric steps I can take to prevent a cyber attack on my website? First, I want to reiterate that having a strong password policy is a critical step in protecting your website. Moreover, you should implement some additional 2-factor or multi-factor authentication, which will make it much more difficult for hackers who've stolen passwords to gain access to your website. Next, I want to talk about website security. The first step here is you must be using SSL. If you're not using SSL on your website, you're way behind the times, and this is a non-negotiable. So get that set up as soon as possible. You also want to look to install a firewall. Now, there are firewalls for the server, and there are also firewalls for your web application, known as WAF, Web Application Firewall. One or both of these would definitely up-level the amount of security you have around your website to help prevent cyber attacks. The third tech step you should take is look into getting a CDN, which stands for Content Delivery Network. A CDN will also help prevent denial of service attacks because of their rate-limiting software and their bot recognition algorithms. Now, if you're not self-hosting and rather using a service like Wix or Shopify or hosting providers like WP Engine or Acquia or Pantheon, these hosting providers are all top-tier providers and will include SSL, CDN, and usually some type of web application firewall. If or when my website gets hacked, what should I do? The fact that you're watching this is a great first step. What I recommend to a lot of my clients is to put together a playbook as if you were hacked, and then back through each of the steps and identify how you can implement additional security measures to prevent some of those things from happening. One of the most critical components of any hacked website playbook is the backup. If you don't have a backup in place, you're going to be wasting a lot more time and a lot more money getting your website back online. If you're self-hosted, you're going to want to put a backup retention policy in place. And let me tell you what the top-tier hosting providers do, and you can leverage that as an example. What they typically do is to store daily backups for a week. Then they'll store weekly backups for a month, and then they'll store monthly backups for 3, 6, 9, or even 12 months. So this is the type of retention policy you want to put in place for your own website if you are self-hosted. Now let me walk you through what a typical hacked website playbook might look like. The first step is immediate lockdown. You must take your website offline as soon as possible. Then notify any stakeholders and notify your hosting company. And finally, you'll want to start assessing the damage. What has taken place? What's broken? Where are the holes? The next step is the cleanup and getting your site back online. If you can identify when the hack took place and you've got a good backup retention policy, you can restore the backup from just before the hack took place and be back online relatively quickly. If you don't have a backup, or a backup won't actually fix the problem, then you'll be looking at rebuilding the server, rebuilding the website, rebuilding any custom plugins or development that you've done, etc. And this is a much more costly and complicated process. And finally, the third step is the post-response, which is about reputation management. Checking in with customers, vendors, clients, checking in with social media accounts, search engines. Are there any legal or compliance issues that you need to address? This last step is typically the most costly, most time-consuming. And we've put together a sample playbook for you to download at is2digital.com/playbooks/hacked website recovery. How can small and medium-sized businesses effectively protect their websites without breaking the bank? First, I want to remind you of the misconception that small and medium-sized business websites don't get hacked as much. This is definitely inaccurate, and if you have a small or medium-sized business, you really want to pay attention to how you can put security measures in place to protect your website. First, prioritize the easy security measures you can put in place, which include a strong password policy, making sure you have updated software for your content management system and plugins, and implementing SSL, a content delivery network, and some type of firewall. Next, you want to use free or open source tools to scan your website for vulnerabilities. If you're using Drupal, you could use the Paranoia module or Security Review. And if you're using WordPress, you could try WordFence or Security. Third, you want to be proactive on your website to make sure that the data that you're capturing for users is secure and follows privacy guidelines. If you have European customers, you want to look at the GDPR legislation. And if you have customers in the United States, California has the CCPA legislation, and many other states have followed suit, such as Utah, Virginia, and Texas, and other states are coming online as well. Finally, take a minute to subscribe to security news or blogs, such as Krebs on Security, ThreatPost, or the Drupal Security Advisories. So let me get to the point. Website security is critical, and there are some easy steps you can take to move the bar and prevent yourself from becoming one of the statistics. But security is not a set it and forget it type solution. It will require continuous effort, attention, and assessment so that you can prevent yourself from becoming one of the statistics. And remember, you're not only protecting yourself from lost revenue, wasted time, and brand damage, you're also protecting your users, clients, vendors, investors from phishing attacks, malicious activities, and data breaches. IS2 Digital helps business executives solve problems with software. If we can help automate or improve any of the behind-the-scenes processes that run your business, reach out. Let's see if we can help. is2digital.com/to-the-point.